Hi guys, welcome to this video. I'm Prashant, a CAT VARC 9 times 99 percentiler, and I'm bringing this video to you wherein I explain to you the kind of reading strategies that you should adopt to improve your CAT prep. Very simply, these are laser focused videos which detail one aspect of reading one by one that you can incorporate in your daily reading habits. So there's going to be a set of videos. From the set of videos, we've already done one video before. This is the second video in this series wherein you learn how do you read better, how do you improve your reading output. And the agenda and the topic for this video is a very simple one. You need to diversify your reading. What do I mean by diversification? This is not a government scheme where the government is diversifying into different areas. Here we are diversifying your reading habits. The reason for doing so is that more than reading is, especially reading for CAT and preparing for reading comprehensions, is more than just recognizing words and sentences. It's about grasping key ideas and arguments. When we talk of ideas and arguments, look at it this way. Whenever an author pens something down, now in CAT you would get non-fiction content, right? You don't get stories to read. But whenever authors pen down this non-fiction content, they have specific ideas, specific arguments that they wish to convey to the reader. And your job is to identify these. The better you are at identifying ideas and arguments, the better you are at solving reading comprehension. So that's the simple correlation, simple reading psychology which is at work here. Now, RC passages, they come from academic sources. These have abstract concepts, tough vocabulary. These have, when I say tough vocabulary, they deal with terms. This might be impressionism in art, neoliberalism in economics, right? Behavioral economics, right? Some aspect of, say, Oedipus complex or some other such psychological concept or existentialism in philosophy. So all these different areas, right? All these different aspects of these different subjects, they fall under what? These are terminologies that you need to be aware of. So you will encounter such vocabulary, you will encounter such abstract concepts, and in order to perfect these, you need to diversify your reading sources. Now, what are the different kind of reading sources that are available to you? First reading resource is newspapers and editorials. And in this, you have Indian newspapers, Hindu, Indian Express. You can refer to New Indian Express. You can refer to the Telegraph in India. New Indian Express and the Telegraph are free open source, so you won't be even locked behind a paywall. You can refer to Scroll, you can refer to the Wire, you can refer to the Print. These are all different sources, Indian sources. So that's one category of reading. The way you should look at it is, this is within this set, this is category one of reading material. Remember, we will diversify. Indian newspapers, they look at India and the world through the lens of India, right? Or I think I should use a better phrase, through an Indian perspective, right? So you get to read from an Indian perspective in these sources. On the other hand, New York Times, The Guardian, right, and other such foreign publications, right? Here you get to read from a global perspective. So New York Times, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, the Guardian, even Al Jazeera, these are all global sources, right? BBC, these websites give you a global perspective. So the nature of information changes and the perspective changes, which means your reading experience, it changes. So this is category two. Within this, you've got categories, right? Then you've got magazines and journals. Magazines and journals, you've got the two most famous ones, Economist and Harvard Business Review, right? There are hacks. You guys are smart students, so I won't discuss those hacks here, but I think all of you are smart enough to find access to the Economist or Harvard Business Review. In fact, you might find access to some of their articles that have been written in the past, right? Those might be open source, so you can refer to those. So the third category is these international magazines and journals that you should refer to. Also, then you should refer to online magazines, right, such as Aeon and Scientific American. HBR and Economist are online as well, but they are physical publications as well. Then you've got things such as Aeon and Scientific American, which are very, very interesting and thorough in their presentation, right? Scientific American gives you exposure to science, right? A subset of reading, right? A different kind of reading. So this should be a third category. And then if you want to take it one step further, right, and really, really challenge yourself, you can go to MIT Tech Review, Stanford Social Innovation Review. These are, you start going through academic papers and these journals, which are very, very academic in nature. In fact, these two newspapers and editorials, magazines and journals, in fact, magazines and journals, you should add one more subcategory, Indian magazines as well. So refer to, at times, India Today, The Week, Outlook, every now and then go through these as well. So have these different sources on a pin-up board, right? Put these up. In fact, you should have, we've already in this video discussed around 10 to 15. You should pin these up and colorful sticky notes, right? Have a pin-up board in front of you so that you have this visual representation, visual reminder that I have to refer to these different sources. So when you read from different sources, you diversify your reading, you diversify your content consumption. An equivalent in food, being the foodie that I am, you basically taste different reading cuisines of the world. So you have continental on one day, Indian on another, Mughlai food on the other. Similarly, you diversify your reading appetite, and that's how you enhance your comprehension, by going through this diversity of content. For example, you've got a passage on behavioral economics, right? Now, if you read The Economist regularly, or if you've read the book Thinking Fast and Slow, you will be able to understand what behavioral economics is, right? Behavioral economics is, it checks out, in simple terms, the behavior of individuals and the different biases and the different mental models that they operate upon when they are exposed to different economic situations. For example, you go to a coffee shop, you order a coffee, either you can take a 10 rupee discount up front, it's a 100 rupee coffee, or you get 10 rupees cash back and some points in your account, right? Most people would actually choose, instead of taking that upfront cash discount, they might take up that 10 rupee cashback, that reward and those points, because psychologically they would feel rewarded. So these kind of psychological behaviors, that why do people opt for the reward points and cashback rather than taking an upfront discount? Or at times you might have a cashback of 10 rupees and upfront discount of 8 rupees, right? So you might still end up spending more, right? You end up spending 100 rupees, and here you get only 8 rupees back. So you have these kinds of economic decisions. Why do we behave the way we do economically in certain situations? That's behavioral economics. If you read The Economist, sources such as this, you learn more about these intricacies, and hence reading diversely helps you understand all these things. If you have a CAT passage on behavioral economics, you will be well prepped to understand the nuances of it if you go through these different sources of reading. So that's something that you do. You should, essentially what we're trying to do here is, you should not be shocked with unfamiliar writing styles in CAT. Diversify your reading, you overcome this, you develop flexibility, you develop the mental ability to switch between different types of RC content, which you will encounter. CAT in the last year the CAT exam had 4 passages in every slot, 4 different kinds of articles, 4 different kinds of content. Switching between that, understanding that, diversifying your reading helps you do that, trains your brain and to recognize argument structures, understand content better. So make sure you work on the action points that I suggested in this video and improve your reading practice. Thank you very much for watching this video, and happy learning.